Hello and welcome to TB3 University, episode 5. We got a lot of college football to talk with you guys. We got some anticipation of a huge matchup in Tampa Bay this week. College football in the Bay, doesn't that sound awesome? And then we have some less exciting stories to talk about also down the road. But do we got any intro notes? Are we ready to get into the game?
Let's get into the biggest game of the century, the battle for Florida. Who's the best team? And it's not who you think. It's not the Gators. It's not the Seminoles. It's between your USF South Florida Bulls and the Miami Hurricanes battle for the best in Florida. Who'd have thought, man?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? We did, kind of.
We did, kind of. But we will say, we got to talk USF versus Southern Miss, too, because that was a big game. USF was coming off a loss to the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they had another road game in Southern Mississippi against the Southern Miss. Brett Favre's alumni, know that. I think he stole money from them or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but Brett Favre's alumni, Southern Miss, I do know that for sure. They hosted the USF Bulls, and this game had trap game written all over it. Not a horrible crowd in Southern Miss, but definitely a deader crowd than 90,000 at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And the Bulls were sandwiched in between Alabama and Miami. So you look at that and you say, man, hopefully these guys don't look ahead of their opponent and lose a game that they're not supposed to lose like they did a few times in 2023. And it didn't start off great, as USF Bulls would go down 14-0 to the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. But they would take control, and they would prove that this is a different year for the USF Bulls, that they would score 28 in a row to take a 28-14 lead, and after that, they would pretty much cruise. They would win this game 49-24 and go to 2-1 on the season.
Yeah, huge win, and I think Chef Coach Alex Golish said it the best. This was really a turning point in the program for him. His words specifically were, going down 14-0 early on the road after a disappointing loss last week, and to fight back. Not only fight back, to score 28 unanswered points. Alex Golish said it. That was the biggest shift in the program's culture. Was having the composure to lock back in and not let that game get out of hand. So I think this is a bigger win than a lot of people think. And I there's a lot of good things that happen from it, and it makes me excited, man. It makes me excited for this upcoming week. But I think, my takeaway from it, I rewatched the game. They go up 14-0, but one thing I think is a sign that you're the way better team and that you should roll is when teams start throwing out the bag of tricks way too early. And I think that's what Southern Miss did. They had a couple flea flickers and reverse passes. The first drive of the game, they had like a 40-yard pass, double pass, and then back to the quarterback, Tate Rodemaker, who ran down the sideline. Then there was a questionable roughing the passer, which I thought was pretty stupid. But yeah, they did all the trick plays, all their fancy stuff. But at some point, you're going to have to settle down and go toe-to-toe with the Bulls, and you can't hang with them. You simply couldn't hang. So, yeah, I think I appreciate what Golish said. That's a huge, turning point. But I wouldn't say that I was as scared as what the media is trying to say.
I think there definitely were the thoughts of like, oh boy, here we go again. You look back last year, you look at games like UAB, FAU, those games.
Navy, they were down 14-0 last
year. UConn, they almost lost that game. There was games that had no business either being close, or there was games that they had no business losing, that they did last year in 2023. And it was good to see the growth of the program. For me personally, I felt like the world was ending because I was walking out of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium after my Gators get, smoked, and I turn on, I'm walking, and I turn on the game on my phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 14. What is going on right now? And I'm like, dude, this is about to be the worst day ever. But the Bulls, they steadied the ship. That was a really good game. I think that just the rushing attack was spectacular. 369 yards on the ground. Spread that out. Naquan Wright, Kelly Joyner, love him. Mm-hmm. Just a dog. Great speed, great vision. a really, really good back. I think he's going to be special for the Bulls for years to come because I think he's a younger player. I could be mistaken on that one. Byron Brown, he had about 7 yards rushing too. And I think the rushing attack was big, but also I will say this was a little bit what I was looking for Byron Brown. He would not get the 200 yards passing, but he would get pretty darn close. I think it was 192 yards passing for Byron Brown. And he looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket. His feet were much more steady, and his passes were more accurate. And I think he did a really good job. And it gives me, like Will said, a lot more hope for this game because we're going to need Byron Brown for the battle for the best team in Florida.
Yeah, passes were definitely accurate. I think you brought up a good point, though, last week of kind of his mechanics, and I saw it on a couple throws. Again, if you're audio only, you're not going to see it, but there's a couple of them where his head's like completely turned when he's throwing the ball. You got to stop that. I think one thing, though, that kind of calmed the nerves, I know it got called back by holding, but he threw a gorgeous deep ball that should have been a touchdown, but it was called. There was a holding call in the place, so it didn't count. But it calmed my nerves a little bit to see that happen.
Yeah, and honestly, biggest throw of the season thus far was they were down 14-0. The Bulls had fourth down, and Byron Brown had to roll out to the left side and hit Sean Atkins across his body. Pookie Sean Atkins coming through when the team needs him most.
He had a big game.
He did have a big game. But seriously, that was a huge throw. That was a huge play. Maybe a season-saving play for the Bulls. You go down 21-0, you don't score there. You don't know what happens. This could be, a cycle of going back to back to back being bad. But they make that throw. They score 28 in a row. And I do think Byron Brown looked a lot better, especially his footwork. I do see his release and his head. I don't think are great, man. I don't really like where he released the ball really far behind his head.
Yeah, and again, I saw a couple times he's turning his head around. He's not looking where he's throwing, so he's got to fix that.
Yeah, he is a sophomore. You do have to remember that he is a sophomore, so he is a young player. Might not have had the full quarterback development coaching that some of these older quarterbacks, especially a guy like Cam Ward, have had throughout their careers.
Mm-hmm.
I will say back to the defensive side of the ball, I think the defense was, slow start, but like Will said, a lot of these explosive plays were, one bad step and it kind of got unlucky, some trick plays. So a lot of chunk plays is what kind of killed the Bulls in this game, but the Bulls kind of made up for it by making their big plays of their own. They came away with 3 takeaways in this game, and they were huge. So I'm still very confident in this USF Bulls defense.
Yeah, me too. I think some notable players that stuck out to me was Deshaun Rucker causing that fumble really early in the game. I think that kind of helped change the tides and kind of calm USF down. Huge hit. I think that's the thing too. USF was laying the wood on some of these guys, which kind of went unnoticed because of the score and this and that. But I mean, they were out physicaling Southern Miss by a lot. So I think Deshaun Rucker, shout out to him. I think another defensive guy is Blue Eli, Doug Blue Eli.
Oh, my gosh. Play of the decade. Play of the decade by Doug Blue Eli. Oh, my gosh.
I think it's funny, too. They're saying him. They were asking him about it, and he's like, I honestly have no idea. I just got the ball in my hands.
Dude, I freaked out. That was a crazy play. He scooped that off. That was an insane play. Play of the decade. Play of the USF Bulls program.
Is that the play of the decade, or what about the fake field goal?
Oh, dude, that was awesome too, man.
There were some very notable plays in this game.
It was electric.
Sean Atkins, huge punt return.
The kicker Loki had wheels, man.
Cannon.
Yeah. He was scooting.
Cannon's fast.
He was scooting. What can't he do? He's setting program records for longest field goal week 1, and now he's running the ball 35, 40 yards. I mean,
we definitely have the 2 best kickers in the country. Cannon and Grammatica, kickoff specialist.
Nice.
It's just fun baseball. Fun football, so life is good.
I'd like to see more Cannon running the ball. Sean Atkins. Special teams was great. Special teams has been definitely good. Sean Atkins sets up a huge punt return. I thought he was going to house it. Got caught. But then that set up Byron Brown to run.
I was freaking out during that play.
Me too.
I was like, could it be close?
But maybe that's because he's going to finally. I'm going to see it in person in house against Miami.
I'll lose my mind if that happens. I will say one negative USF had 8 penalties for 65 yards. And on the season, the USF Bulls averaged over 80 penalty yards per game in 3 games. So really something I would like to see the Bulls clean up, especially against a much higher opponent than Southern Miss on Saturday. But, yeah, penalties. It was a problem against Alabama. It kind of got overshadowed because Alabama had more penalties and had such a problem with holding. But USF had their fair share of penalties in that game too. Week 1, they had too many penalties against a cupcake team. So got to clean that up for sure is something I would take away from this game as well.
Yeah, I think, clean up the penalties. Like I said, some of them were so ridiculous. Like that holding call to take away the touchdown was ridiculous. Roughing the passer was ridiculous. Reffing has been horrible this year. I'm going to say it. It has been downright horrible in college football.
We'll get into that. One of the most questionable calls I've seen in the Texas A&M game. That targeting
Georgia,
call.
Kentucky.
I did not see that. Anything else on this game, or should we hit to the preview?
Sean Atkins almost hit that pass. And
yeah,
I wish he had it back.
Yeah, he's. They've run that play before. He threw that a couple times, and that was like a tough ball because it was kind of covered. He kind of like slid in the pocket too over there to evade a defender. It was kind of sick, bro. Wish he would hit that pass.
Everything he does, I want him to do perfect.
Absolutely.
Offense 11 Sean Atkins, defense 11 Eisens.
That
team winning?
That's going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
As we move ahead to one of the biggest games in the USF Bulls' recent memory, especially at home, your USF Bulls host the Miami Hurricanes in beautiful Raymond James Stadium this Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Man, huge matchup. Miami looks like probably the best team in the ACC as of right now. It is early. And they're going to Tampa. I mean, what are we thinking about this game, fellas?
Yeah, I think you look at this season with Miami, and I think year after year they're one of the teams that everybody freaks out about. They get starstruck by the beginning of the year, but this team is unproven. They haven't played anybody. They played a bunch of softies and a Florida team who's given up on their coach.
You could have just stopped at a bunch of softies.
Because, I don't know. I mean, Florida, the talent's there. Anyways, except that white safety. We'll get to him later after the show. They haven't been tested at all. I think this is USF's. USF is their biggest game so far. And what Golish said too earlier this week, I think is pretty important. Where it's like they've played a team with a more mobile quarterback, probably a little bit more talent. Maybe Miami has a better line, but Alabama certainly has the offensive weapons. If USF's defense can play stout, that defensive line, that front line especially. They have a chance. They really have a chance. Look how much they shut down Jalen Milroe. He's no sleeper of a quarterback. Look how they shut down that running game for most of the game until about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, especially in the pass as well. If USF can play like that against Alabama, they should have no problem against this Miami team. No problem at all.
Yeah, I think at this point you're just asking for a replication from the USF defense to this game against Miami from the last game against Alabama because they were spectacular, and I have it written down. Key matchup, USF's D-line versus Miami's offensive line. They got some big boys up there. That running game is what they want to establish. Make no mistake, Cam Ward is really good, but Miami, Mario Cristobal, that is a physical-natured team. They want to establish Damian Martinez, the Oregon State transfer, in the running game. And USF's defensive line, I would argue, might be their best position group thus far. Blue Eli, Chaney, they've been really good in there. And
Michael Williams got hurt. I don't know what his status is, but I hope he can play.
For sure. Yeah. But the defensive line has been really good for the Bulls so far, and they were able to really shut down the Alabama running game, except for a few big plays, like Will mentioned. Plays, they were, run up the score.
And I feel like USF gave up. It was a bad look. They shouldn't have done it, but
Yeah.
You can throw that 5 minutes out the window.
For
Just
sure.
like you can throw out the touchdown from last year with a minute left. That was Alabama trying to panic because that back then it was, way back when it was only 4 teams getting in. They had to look good for the committee.
Absolutely. But if the USF defensive line can replicate and this whole defense can replicate that performance, we're in a good spot because I think this USF offense is in for a better game than they had against Alabama. I think Alabama's defense is better than Miami's defense. I think you look at even that Florida game, it's become pretty apparent that this Florida Gators offense is not very good, but Florida moved the ball, man. They've moved the ball. They had a big play with Montrell Johnson. DJ Lagway got in there, having no college experience whatsoever, marched down the field against the Miami starting defenders. So I think this Miami defense will have some trouble, especially with that USF run game, which they have to establish.
Yeah, well, I think that's my biggest key to the game. I think the best part about Miami, I don't care about their receivers or their DBs. I really don't think they're that good. I don't think Xavier Restrepo is some super talented wide receiver.
Rucker got that on lock.
Yeah, honestly, and I just think where you will beat Miami is how you play them in their offensive defensive line. I think that's their strongest part of their team, and I'd say probably their defensive line is even better than their O-line. So you really have to establish a run game. You got to get it going, and it scares me a little bit. USF did get banged up on the O-line quite a bit in that Southern Miss game, so we'll see how that goes. But you really have to set the tone there and make this offense two-dimensional instead of just having – you can't have Byron scrambling around because you can't establish a run game. You got to get it going. I love what I saw from Naquan Wright. I really loved what I saw from Kelly Joyner. Got to get him going. Can't just be all Byron Brown trying to scramble out of the pocket and trying to make a bunch of throws. Can't happen.
And I will say, against Alabama, the run game was established, man. The USF with the tempo, honestly, the offensive line has held their own, and they did a really good job against Alabama.
It definitely was, but I really think Miami's D-line is better than Bama's.
That is fair, but I will say USF was able to establish that run game with zero passing attack whatsoever in that Alabama game, which is another key to this game. Byron Brown, Will said it, two-dimensional offense. This has to be a two-dimensional offense. Byron Brown has to be able to hit open receivers. He's going to have to throw at least some to, win this game. I think his rushing is going to be a useful and important weapon in this game, but I think his arm is more important. USF, they got the weapons. They got behind Alabama's DBs, who are they're better than Miami's DBs, 100%. They got open. The receivers will be fine. Byron Brown has to hit these throws, and when presented opportunities to score long touchdowns, you can't miss them. You just can't miss them against this Miami team. So Byron Brown has to make this a two-dimensional offense. And then Joel, anything?
As far as overall game goes, I'm going to put this one on the fans. You can't let Miami take over the stadium. I don't think they will, but there's a chance. There's a possibility. Upper deck's opened up. Don't let them take over the feeling and the charisma and culture of the experience.
There's definitely going to be a ton now.
Yeah.
So make sure if you haven't got tickets yet, don your green and gold, go to the game. Because there will be a lot of Miami fans.
There will, but I think USF's going to have the vast majority.
The student section sold out. I don't know. I'm just telling you, man. These losers, I hate Miami fans dearly. These losers never show up to Hard Rock. They never show up to their own stadium. But they love going to other places because either it's just a bunch of I don't know what that fan base is. Just a bunch of bandwagons or really just a bunch of losers. I don't know.
I think it's going to be 55-45, and whichever team it is will be a coin flip.
No, I completely disagree with that. I mean, the student section for USF sold out in record time. Never been a student section for a football game that sold out faster than this game against Miami. And then subsequently, this wasn't the case before. They opened up the upper deck. Cheap seats, $35, $50. That's what we're looking at up there. I think a lot of those USF students are just going to go there, tailgate all day, and sit in the upper deck. I think I think USF is going to show out. I think
do we tailgate on a Saturday?
We'll talk about this. Maybe. I think USF the buzz around the program, what they've been doing on Twitter the last couple of weeks, especially against Alabama. There's hype. The hype is real. And me personally, I would shoot for, I think it'll be 70-30 USF. I really do think USF's going to show up. I think from what I saw, just based off how fast that student section
just
opened.
All the bums show up to Ben Hill, man.
Well, also, it wasn't that bad, though. I don't
think
it was
like a significant amount by the visitors section.
But here's the difference, though.
Yeah, official visit section.
That's Ben Hill. That's a much more of an enticing trip. The first game of the season, you have all the offseason to plan for it.
I guess. Ray J's closer, though, man.
Ray J is closer, but here's another good thing. Is the upper deck was not opened until this week. So there can't be Miami fans that have been planning the trip that are going to plan on sitting in the upper deck.
My concern, though, is the tickets are so cheap, Miami fans are going to be like, what's 4 hours for a $10 ticket to go see the boys?
But I think the students have already snatched up those tickets.
I hope
Hopefully
so.
I think that's what happened, and I'm really hoping
Just make sure that you listening, go get tickets and come to the game. Wear green and gold.
Here's my question to you guys.
Fight a Miami fan in the parking lot.
My question to you guys is, especially for Will, but just in general, Joel, if USF gets the crowd turnout that I'm expecting, let's say it's at least 65-35 USF, right? We'll say that. Do you guys think that this could be one of if not the loudest games in Raymond James history?
It definitely can get pretty loud. I think you're probably looking at, I don't know if it'll necessarily be like 75,000, but you could probably see 60 to 65K. It should be loud. Hopefully it's loud. But that's the thing. It'll be loud as long as the Bulls do what they're supposed to do.
Does Raymond James sit 75,000?
70,000, something.
Really? I thought it was 60.
They took out that one spot.
Oh, yeah, that might have been with the extra seats. Yeah, look it up, Stat Guide.
But yeah, in all seriousness, like for Will, we went to the Bucks playoff game last year. We're going to this USF game. Do you think that this USF game could top?
I knew it. I
70?
knew it. 75.
Really?
Wait, let me Wikipedia confirm this.
Really? That is very much surprising to me.
Expandable to 75.
It's 69 as of right now.
But expandable 75.
We'll see.
They had that
I
spot.
knew it for sure. Yeah, it was 75 when they added that extra thing, which looked so weird. It looked so weird.
It was bad. That was not good.
And they covered Captain's Grill.
Dude, imagine they have to expand it though. I think it's gonna be an awesome atmosphere. Is what
well,
I'm saying.
let me say this. This could be a very, very good little application for the ACC.
For sure, absolutely for sure. And I think the Bulls' biggest application for another conference has already been made by getting an on-campus stadium and the amount of NIL money they've spent and what they've invested to their programs. Their athletic director is doing a fantastic job. I think that's already been, but this is a great way to show the country.
On the field. This is on the field.
Absolutely.
Application.
So show up, USF Bulls fans. Anything else for the game? I think we predict it.
Yeah, I think, again, like you said, if you want a loud atmosphere.
Get some turnovers.
Turnovers, again, Cam Ward can turn the ball over, and he should. But again, you want a good turnout. You want people to stay invested. You want the loud atmosphere. You got to do what you're supposed to do. You keep the game close. If you played like you did against Alabama, by all means, you should beat this team. You should beat Miami. I'm tired of the Miami's back. I'm tired of the hype. They haven't played anybody. And this is the same team we see year in and year out. And I really think USF is going to expose them. I really do. I really don't know what you guys are going to say, but I guess I'll just go for it. I think USF takes this win. They should have beaten Alabama. They should be 3-0 right now. I think they're pissed off. I think Chef Golish is pissed. He wants to get a signature win, and it's going to come Saturday night. It's going to happen. USF is going to win 26-23.
Joel?
I'm going to say 27-21 Bulls.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be loud. I don't think at any point that this game is going to, deafen this USF, or silence is what I meant to say. Silence this USF Bulls crowd. I think it's going to be a special night. I'm looking forward to being there. And I went to a college football game last week. Didn't get the result I wanted. It's not happening this week. The USF Bulls are going to win this game, and they're going to win it 31-28. USF has been on the cusp of this huge marquee win since Coach Golesh got there. They're on the precipice of it. They're going to get it. They're got to get it, and I think they're getting it on Saturday. I just think so.
Yeah, I didn't think about how much of a marquee win this would be.
This is huge.
This would be cool.
Syracuse was close because it's Power 5, but it's a bowl game, and people don't care as much. But when was the
last time Syracuse was like good?
Yeah, that's what it could be good this year. True. We don't know, but no, this is an important win. You gotta have it. You got to. I think I even said earlier, if you could at least get one of two, Miami or Alabama, get one.
Oh, I would take that a million times out of a million.
Please. But fans, show up, show out. If you see us there, I'm section 128, row 12.
Yes, we'll be there. Me and Will will be there.
We'll be there.
I'm ironically going to be in Miami. I'm going to rub it in their faces.
Yes, he is. Let's go.
Joel's going to drive his car on Hard Rock Stadium's field and ruin it for him.
Go Bulls.
Plant the Bulls flag at Hard Rock
He'll be like the Baker Mayfield way he won in Ohio State, like flying a big Bulls flag.
What if I could? I'll wear my Bulls shirt down there.
Dude, there's so much crime going on in Miami. They're not going to protect the stadium.
Miami Gardens is pretty safe over there.
They don't have the bodies for that.
It's true. They're fighting real crime. That's why I said in Detroit, man, there's never any cops to check like speed and stuff. Nobody's getting pulled over for speeding in Detroit, and I was like, yeah, real crime to fight.
They can't. They don't have men to spare. Yeah, so we're on the Bulls, man. Show up, show out. Make this a special night for the USF Bulls University and their football program. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm so
And don't
stoked.
You want to be there in person to see it? If something happens, we're storming the field.
Oh, dude,
we're storming the field.
We're on the low. Wow.
Me and Joel got close last year. We were one bad interception away, and we were going to storm the field.
I did not think about the fact that we're on the lower deck.
Dude, and we're going up to Cristobal. And you can get him back because you saw what he did against the Gators.
Yeah.
And you can go right up to his face and just
man. That's
and
awesome.
he can't do anything about it.
Can't. Yeah.
I got goosebumps.
Dude, I'm
oh my gosh.
Oh man. I'm ecstatic now. Come on, USF. Come on, Coach Gold. Come on, Byron Brown. 300 yards, 100 yards rushing. Book it. All right. Now I'm gonna go right back down to earth because
turn off the episode now. Thank you guys for listening. Oof. If you don't want to be depressed for the rest of the week, you can just skip to the end. Skip to the end when we talk about other games. Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, we can keep it brief because I was corresponding at beautiful Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida, home of the Florida Gators for a 3:30 in the afternoon game against the Texas A&M Aggies. And you know what? I'll just say it on the show. I have never seen the Gators lose in Gainesville, Florida in my life. And this isn't a small sample size. This is probably at least 10 games, football and basketball. I've seen the Gators win and win and win. So I go there and, Texas A&M coming off a loss against Notre Dame in week 1. I'm kind of like, I think the Gators, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but I think they have a good shot at, riding the ship and getting a nice win and maybe turning their season around for Billy Napier. And that dream was very quickly crushed as, new quarterback Marcel Reed for the Texas A&M Aggies, mobile quarterback, and they got the running game going. They had 310 rushing yards on the Gators. That is unacceptable. Just abysmal defense. And, yeah, it was just, one thing after another, just horrible and horrible and horrible. There was a lightning delay in the stadium for about 30-45 minutes. During the whole lightning delay, there was not an ounce of rain. The game resumed and then about 5 minutes later, it started raining. Just an epitome of what the day went. And I don't have much for the game. I think Billy Napier trying to alternate a quarterback every other drive was idiotic. And one of the dumbest things I've seen live and in person. I don't know what he was thinking, but it's Billy Napier, so he probably wasn't thinking. And another thing.
He was worried about the people in rural Florida in their basement.
Yes, he was. And when you look at just the University of Florida football program, I was there live, and it was, the most quiet crowd I've ever been a part of at a Florida football game. This was, it's kind of jarring. I mean, I was there with my family, and my dad said it. This is the quietest. This crowd is dead. They're sleeping. And this wasn't just for the game. This was, pregame. It was a sold-out stadium, 89,000 people there. All these people, they've had the life sucked out of them. They don't know. They don't have the passion for Florida football because it's just gone downhill. It's sad to see. Goes up to the administration at Florida, and it's just sad to see where Florida football is right now.
Yeah, well, from what I watched the game, I mean, I think the thing that sticks out is the defense. They just look like they've given up. They just look like they've given up out there. They don't care. And I said, fire that D coordinator. He's a bum. He's schlubby. He looks like he's never played football before. How's that guy going to lead a defense, man? But, yeah, you're exactly right with the splitting thing. Like I said, that never works. That never, ever works. And you look at DJ Lagway's stats, 6 of 13, 54 yards, 2 picks, QBR 15.2. You're making him look bad for no reason. This guy's supposed to save the program. He's supposed to save the program, and you just make him look bad. Like, you have to start him. Graham Mertz, thank you for your service. You're not doing Mertz any favors by playing him. It's just ridiculous. You got to just play Lagway if you want any chance. If you want any chance to turn the season around, you just got to start him. And I hate the Gators. I hate them. But goodness sakes, man, you got somebody talented like that. You're going to lose him if you just do stupid stuff like this. He's going to be at USC next year, Texas A&M.
Yeah, going scoreless. Going scoreless through the first half that's pitiful, very pitiful.
The Florida Gators averaged 0.9 yards per carry rushing in the first half. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I don't really see where Billy Napier thought playing 2 quarterbacks would work. How is a quarterback supposed to get their rhythm, and how is a quarterback supposed to, lead the offense if it's a different one every single drive? Stupid and dumb.
That's not fair to the players either.
It's not fair to either one of them. I think Graham Mertz was better than DJ on Saturday. He led a touchdown drive in the second half, and Mertz led the touchdown drive, and he's out the next drive. How does that make sense? How is that coaching?
Man.
How is
that
coaching?
But again, it's like, but he shouldn't even be out there though. It should be Lagway, even if he struggles.
Yeah.
Just let him build and grow. Let him grow.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to walk back a point I said last week because Will was talking about the administration for the Florida Gators, and I kind of mentioned Scott Strickland and said, hey, Florida has not been a good sport for him, football has not been a good sport for Scott Strickland, the athletic director at the University of Florida, but all these other sports he's done a pretty good job at. What I failed to realize was the sports that are doing good at the University of Florida are all legacy hires. These are people that were there before, Scott Strickland was the athletic director. I mean, I think of baseball, Kevin Sullivan. He's been there for 1,000,000 years, and I'm sure it's the same deal for stuff like swimming and gymnastics. I'm not as in tune into that stuff. But a stat here, since 2016, Gators head coaches in all sports hired by Scott Strickland are a combined 86 and 398. That is their record, with 0 national championships, while during the Jeremy Foley, the athletic director before Scott Strickland, his era, his coaches he hired were 390 and 38 with 18 national championships. So all the coaches that Jeremy Foley hired that are still at the University of Florida are the ones succeeding, and the ones that Strickland hired are the ones that are duds. The only one that maybe is not a dud is basketball head coach Todd Golden. I love that guy. But other than
that, he brought in that big tall dude, right?
He did, but more relevant. He's got a great transfer class, and Florida basketball looks really good. So that's what I'm counting my days down to.
Yeah. Again, and he should be fired. He should be fired. But like I said, I know you're going way deep in the administration, but that president's got to step up, even if he is an interim. Fire both of these guys. I'd say you shouldn't have let them get to this point.
How are you a huge university and you still have an interim president? What's going on here?
Yeah, and when you're a university like that, NIL people, the boosters, board. You get people who care about sports. I'm sorry. That brings the money into the school, whether you like it or not. You have to be sports first if you're a D1 program and you're in the SEC. You got to get smart people who know sports, who know football. I know you guys talk about the Harvard of the South, but that doesn't work. You're losing money. You're losing sports. It's just a huge issue that needs to be fixed now. Is it true Urban Meyer wants to take the job?
I don't know, man.
I keep seeing that. I also see Lane Kiffin would take in a heartbeat, but I guess not being disrespectful, but like why? Does he have ties to the Gators or something?
No,
that I'm
but
unaware
I think
of?
people just think Florida's a bigger job than Ole Miss, and Florida does have substantially more NIL money, I think, than Ole Miss. But I'm kind of in your boat. I don't know. It depends. I don't know. Lane Kiffin's definitely the name that gets mentioned the most. I'm not fully sold on Lane Kiffin, but he can recruit. He can bring some energy to the program, so it's not the worst option. But I don't know. Still early on, but not looking like Billy Napier's going to be here next year.
It'd be kind of fun to have Urban Meyer back again, like a little legacy thing kind of thing.
We shall see.
My heart.
Oh,
I got to go to Ohio State.
I must stay home with my family for 2.5 weeks.
Yep, Urban Liar. As we look ahead.
Did he know about the Aaron Hernandez murder?
I don't know, man. I think so, right?
I wanted that Swamp Kings to be better than it was.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good at all. I wanted some juicy dirt on that team.
They need to do an unaffiliated one.
It was just glazing.
It was glazing Urban Meyer, bro.
Mm-hmm.
As we look ahead, Florida, in a battle of probably the worst teams in the SEC, they head to Stark Vegas, to play the Mississippi State Bulldogs at noon on ESPN. If you guys are not aware, Mississippi State got blown out by the Toledo Rockets this past Saturday, and what was a really bad look for the SEC. So, one bad SEC team.
They got housed by Arizona State the week before, too.
Yeah, so Mississippi State's not looking good. Probably should be a win for the Gators. I'll say the Gators win. This is the last game they win this season. Maybe they beat FSU because everyone stinks. But Gators win 34-30.
Yeah, man, Mississippi State looks pretty terrible, so I think I'll give the Florida Gators the upper hand. I'm thinking of a solid, 28-6 ball game.
Wow.
I think the defense shows up a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know. No, yeah. Gators will win. But they punished me this week. I said they were going to beat Texas A&M just for you.
Yeah, it
and
didn't work out.
They embarrassed me.
Brutal.
I'll shock the world wearing my Gators shirt. They'll lose. They're going to lose 27-17.
They lose this game. I don't see how Billy Napier coaches the UCF game.
There's no way. I mean, he shouldn't anyway.
He shouldn't, but they lose to Mississippi State, who just got blown out by Toledo.
Maybe Toledo's good, man. That's what I tell myself sometimes. Maybe these teams are just good.
All right, let's get to the Florida failures.
Let's get to we're still Sunshine State champs until we get blown out by Miami. So we got a couple weeks left. I had to wear this, ACC champs hat. If you're watching on YouTube, to get me through it. It's I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't. Again, it just feels like I go back to it. It just feels like this is Mike Norvell's first head coaching job in his first season with the young team, with guys who aren't his. You just look so vanilla on offense. You just can't get anything going. I think, again, the first week was we're just going to run even if it doesn't work. Next week, now we're going to pass until it doesn't work. And this week was let's just keep running screenplays. Let's keep running screenplays, and they know it's coming, and it's just getting blown up. But let's keep doing it, and then get to third and long and hope DJU doesn't get sacked when our O-line is terrible. The Memphis Group 5 team, USF, probably their biggest foe right now in the AAC. Should have won that game. And you didn't. You lost 20-12. You embarrassed yourselves. You embarrassed the program. And I mean, my biggest thing is just they can't do anything right. They can't do anything right. You look at this game. You say, okay, well, the defense played a little better. They got some big stops when they needed to. But you go, okay, they're playing a group of 5 team. They should play better. Yeah, you're 100% right. But in the I just think in the grand scheme of things, offense totally put them in bad positions. 3 turnovers. Memphis scored on all 3 of them. 2 of them they had super short fields. One was a muff punt. The other was a pick that put them at like the 50. And then the fumble like on the first drive of the game. And Memphis scores 13 off of that. So in hindsight, you look at it and go, well, offense doesn't make those mistakes. You know, it's a 7-point game. We win 12-7. And that looks terrible because, like I said, it's a group of 5 team. But you're at least coming into this week feeling a little bit better about yourselves that you figured out how to win a game. I'm not saying it means anything, but it sure is a lot better to win games than to lose them, no matter what the score is. I certainly would be feeling a lot better if they won 12-7 or 9-7 compared to losing by 8 at home. And I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to go from here. I just think, well, I guess we'll see with Alex Atkins. He was suspended all 3 games, the co-offensive coordinator. Maybe it's all him. Maybe I just hold out hope, and it was all him running the show. Mike Norvell, he's a great guy, great coach, but good culture builder. But as far as like play calling and running the offense, maybe it was all Atkins. Even though Atkins was there and coaching every day, he just wasn't there for the game. But maybe he's a good halftime adjustments guy. Maybe that was him last year with all the adjustments in the second half. So we'll see. You play Cal, the Golden Bears, the Cal Commies. Their Twitter is kind of funny. Like their whole thing is just making other fan bases mad by posting like communist and Marxist stuff. It's really funny. That's actually. Insane. They're 3-0, but I mean they played San Diego State. They beat Auburn. I don't know what that means. I mean, Auburn lost to New Mexico State last year, too. So, by all means, here we go again. You should beat this team. Like, you should beat them. I really don't think this team is giving up.
So, that's another home game?
It's another home game.
See,
long road trip for Cal.
You got to get out of Doak Campbell, though, I feel like, for this team.
I was actually watching their game late Saturday night.
Who are they playing?
San
Diego State?
San Diego. I was watching that game.
Their run game looks really good. That's concerning because Florida State just runs a base defense. So, but this is it, man. I mean, if you really want to turn around your season and have some sort of – because that's the thing. I'm not for the youth movement yet like a lot of FSU fans are. They want, let's see what Brock Glenn has. Let's see what Cromanhook has. Let's bench DJU. Well, I really don't want to have this season be an 0-12 season. Because that's probably what it would end up being. This team is, and you've told everybody we've given up. We've given up completely. And it's coming after, again, this isn't a first-year head coach. You just came off of an ACC championship. So that's why I think you got to turn the season around if you can. At least get to a bowl game. Go 6-6 or something. But we're getting to the point where, okay, you should beat Cal, but you can't. You probably won't. You weren't able to beat Memphis or Boston College or Georgia Tech, Charleston Southern, Florida, Duke, maybe Duke, but SMU. Oh, I guess SMU.
I feel good about SMU.
SMU, they were talking loads and loads of trash, and then they look like a dog water too. So
this is their first year in their conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same thing with Cal, though.
They're supposed to be dark horses, and they've looked terrible. So maybe Cal, that's 1 win, SMU 2, Duke 3, Charleston Southern 4, Florida 5. Oof. Well, you got to come up with something. Well, maybe Notre Dame stinks.
They just won 66-7. It's Purdue, but
maybe
still.
Purdue stinks.
But Northern Illinois is really good.
Northern Illinois might be a playoff team.
What if? That'd be awesome.
No, seriously.
Cinderella
If they win out, they're in the playoffs.
Not unless USF wins out, baby.
Yeah, that would be an interesting debate. 12-0 versus 11-1.
I saw during the broadcast they said the AAC has a 39% chance of making the playoff, and the MAC has 11. I think they respect the AAC a little bit more.
They definitely do. I think Northern Illinois will lose a game or two.
And let's just see how Notre Dame is, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know they beat Purdue, whatever. You lost at home to Northern Illinois.
We're still talking about them playing FSU, so like.
Yeah,
no,
but that's the thing. FSU always, my entire life, they've always played good against Notre Dame. Always. That's where I hold out like my last sliver of hope. They always play good against them.
I don't know what to pick, man. I feel like I've picked FSU every week, and they've lost. But I don't know. But Cal might be the best team they've played.
They're not better than Boston College.
They're not better than Boston College.
And they certainly aren't better than Georgia Tech.
That's debatable. I guess give me Cal. I've picked FSU.
That's
maybe
fair.
I'm reversing it so you can finally get a win. You'd be happy.
That's fair. I need it. I'll never pick against the Seminoles. I haven't done it since we started the show. I won't do it. I think Florida State will win, maybe like 13-10. If the defense can play as good as they did last week, and the offense doesn't turn the ball over a bunch of times, I think maybe Florida State can sneak a win. And maybe they just turn it around, man. Maybe they turn it around. I'm holding out hope that they do. Like, there's still so many guys from last year where it's just like what worked out last year so good that's not working out this year. Like Kentron Portier, great receiver. Kyle Morlock, really good tight end. Hakeem Williams is going to be back. Like, you got the weapons. Like, I know there was Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, and Jaheim Bell, but those guys were hurt a bunch of the times, and Florida State was still winning the games with Portier, Williams, and Morlock. They were still winning games with those guys. Philly. And I think the defense, I really don't have any quarrels with the defense. I know all of Florida State Twitter does, but I don't. When you're just having your coach run you, put you into base defense and expect you to do stuff, I don't blame you. And then also, like, I look at the one drive that Memphis had to drive the length of the field to score a touchdown. You're having Patrick Payton in pass coverage, and they target him every time he was. Stupidity. Why are you putting? Maybe he's not the best pass rusher, but he's your best pass rusher on your team. Why are you putting him in pass coverage?
Boys, I have to go. This is real life action.
Yeah, I've been watching the clock.
I'm gonna leave. I have something to be.
Anyway.
Well, you can preview the games. Preview the games. Yeah. I'll Irish exit. But thank you guys for my section. Preview the games. And yeah, but just know.
See you, man. Have fun.
You're very responsible. I was watching the clock for you, and you figured it out. So good job.
Yeah. Well, so you said that you picked Memphis. I picked Florida State. What about you, Joel?
I was gonna pick Florida State to win. Ironically, wearing my Gators shirt. Score-wise, let's go 20-10.
20-10. Yeah. We'll see. Certainly make sure to watch all the three games. Well, I think Florida State's the same time as USF, and I'm going to tell you, as a Florida State fan, watch USF.
Are you going to be watching them on your lap on the phone?
Not at all. I'll tape the game. I'll tape the game and watch it when I get home, but I'm solely focused on USF. Let's talk some college football, man. Let's get hyped up. Look at some of the games last week. I think we talked about Kansas State and Arizona. I said last week this is going to be Arizona's welcome to the Big 12. They didn't have the defense, and certainly Kansas State proved them proved me right there, winning 31-7 over Arizona. Georgia and Kentucky. Georgia escapes 13-12. A lot of controversy in that game. I was watching that
game with popcorn ready to go.
All right, my question for you is Kentucky legit or is Georgia on fraud watch?
I think Kentucky's legit. Like they always seem to. I mean, like with the little that I know about Kentucky, they always seem to beat the Gators up real good. So
yeah, well, the Gators stink.
Mm-hmm. So that's it's the little pinch of Kentucky.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna lead more towards Georgia being frauds, but yeah, maybe Kentucky's finally turned the corner.
It's a little bit of both, but it was like I had the game on mute and I'm like, come on, like I'm watching it in the corner of the room, I'm like, oh, come on, like the last drive they had, like they didn't do I think they didn't maybe move a single yard if I remember correctly. Like you're just kind of like, all right, 3 and out, game over.
Man. Disappointing game, Alabama at Wisconsin. Alabama absolutely housed them 42-10. I was disappointed. I was hoping Wisconsin would play a better game, but they stink.
Yep.
I think they stink, guys.
I did not have much hope in that game at all.
Yeah. I just thought Wisconsin would play a little better, but
it makes the Bulls look good.
It does. It definitely does. My biggest surprise of the week was Boston College at Missouri. I did not think Boston College would hang with Mizzou, only losing by a score here on the road. Maybe Boston College is better than we thought.
I think I picked Boston College to win that game, if I remember right. So.
You might have, yeah. I think you did. I certainly didn't think so, but so that was a really good game. So maybe we'll see what happens at Boston College down the road. What other games did we cover? Oklahoma kind of ran away with it against Tulane. I don't think Tulane's that good. I think that was it for last week. Let's look at what we have coming up this weekend, and then we'll go and predict. We'll get Colby's later, of course. Come on now. Starting off Friday, Illinois, number 24 Illinois at number 22 Nebraska on Fox. I'm going to be having this game on, man. Let's see if Dylan Raiola is a truth. They smoked Colorado, but now they're facing ranked Illinois who beat Kansas. A lot of people had Kansas as a dark horse to win the Big 12. I think this is a very interesting matchup. What about you?
I will never, ever, ever, ever vote against Lovie Smith's crew. So gotta go Illinois.
Illinois, yeah. I really do think, actually, if we're going to predict right now, I think Illinois gets the upset here. I think Nebraska's good, but I could see them slipping up here. Illinois seems to be playing spoiler alert early, and they could be a good team themselves. So, yeah, give me Illinois in that. You're right. Another game, battle for the ACC at 12 p.m. On Saturday. NC State at Clemson. Was the loss to Tennessee a fluke? Is NC State good like everybody thought they were? And let's see, can Clemson handle a big test at home? What do you think about this game?
I'll have to go NC State. I think NC State pulls that one out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think Clemson will take it, but I wouldn't be surprised if NC State keeps it close.
That's a good game, though.
3:30 on CBS. USC at Michigan. These were the matchups everybody wanted from the big conference realignment. USC looks like the truth.
That looks
with
like
Miller Moss.
That looks like a national championship kind of like game right there. Like I know it's not this year, but like if you go back in history, it's like that's one of them. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and I want to say Michigan. They're going with. I'm not saying anything. Alex Orji. I think he's starting at quarterback. They benched their other guy who got embarrassed by Texas. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. But, yeah, this could be a really fun game. Give me USC, though, to win in the big house.
Yeah, Michigan hasn't really impressed me since the head coach left, so I'll go USC.
Let's see. What else do we got here? 4 p.m. Utah at Oklahoma State, number 12 versus number 14. A battle in Stillwater. Two old quarterbacks. Bowman, I'm pretty sure he was a backup to Patrick Mahomes at one point.
What?
That shows you how long he's been
Guy's
playing.
like grandpa.
I know, and then Cam Rising is also a 7th-year senior, but he's battled with some injuries. I'm super high on Cam Rising, but I think Oklahoma State walks away with this. Utah has looked, they've looked bad at times. I think Oklahoma State's got it in the bag.
I hate Utah, so they're probably gonna win. I have like some racism toward like West, like the Mississippi River line. Like once you cross the Mississippi line, it's like I don't know. That's
Race statism.
racism. Like I only care about college football on this side of the Mississippi River.
The Mason-Dixon, south of the Mason-Dixon, east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, it's like I don't care about the Lewis and Clark Travels teams enough.
That's fair. 7:30 p.m. Tennessee, number 6. Tennessee at number 15. Oklahoma. Does Oklahoma deserve to be ranked, or is Tennessee going to have their way with them? And I think it's going to be the latter. I think Iamaleava is going to win the Heisman most likely. He is a dog quarterback. I think Tennessee is the truth. I think Tennessee easily beats Oklahoma in Norman.
It's about time Tennessee is good, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't hate Tennessee. I know Colby definitely does, but I sure as heck don't.
I mean, as far as SEC teams go, they're kind of like the Chicago Cubs. Like they haven't been really good since like Peyton Manning and Eli Manning and those guys. So it's time for them to get some love.
Yeah, that's fair. Is there any other games? Is there any good nightcap ones? Maybe some ones to look out for that aren't necessarily ranked games.
What's Colorado up to?
Colorado plays Baylor at 8 p.m.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm always watching Colorado.
I'm watching Colorado every week.
If I can find Colorado on TV, I'm watching it.
Yeah, I love watching them. They're must-watch TV.
It's not like a 10 o'clock game though. Like I like to settle down to some Colorado.
Yeah, I'll take it.
That's not going to happen as much this year, right? Like without the Pac-12 being this strong.
Yeah, with the Pac-12 being gone, they're going to play a lot of East Coast games.
Boo.
Another one on the ACC Network at 8 p.m. This is interesting. 3-0 Michigan State at Boston College. That could just be a fun game for the fans, man. Kind of some unknowns. Childs looks pretty good at Michigan State. And then Boston College, let's see if they can bounce back after the loss to Mizzou.
I'm a Boston College believer. I'd go Boston College in that game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they win it pretty easily. That's a good game too. TCU at SMU, man. We're blessed.
That's got some rivalry in it, I bet. Like those two fan bases.
Yeah, Battle of Texas. We're really blessed. Wow. Can you believe it? Arizona State, Texas Tech, Big 12 matchup.
That's weird.
Rutgers at Virginia Tech at 3:30.
Okay.
Man, I'm loving these games. As well, 3:30 Georgia Tech at Louisville. That's something to watch out for. Goodness sakes, dude. I want to do nothing but watch college football all day on Saturday.
You picked the bad day to like be traveling to the stadium and stuff.
I know I'm going to miss a lot of games. But hey, I'm all in for USF. Wow, Kansas, West Virginia.
It's a sacrifice. He is sacrificing his love for college football as a whole to love USF.
I'll do anything for USF, man.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, those are some interesting games. Make sure to see our Instagram post because we'll make all these predictions. Final, tell you guys to look out for. Maybe tell you how you spend your money. Maybe we tell you to some locks we have for this week. You can throw a little cheese on it. See how it goes. Mine were hitting the first couple weeks. I've been doing great, but I'll bounce back. Trust me, I'll get you guys with a perfect lock. Thank you guys for listening. This is going to conclude it. Make sure to listen on YouTube and watch. We got it on Spotify as well. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Comment, like our post. We really appreciate it. Goes a long way. We can continue to do this. Tell your friends. Yeah, tell your friends. Just listen to us. Give us a listen. That's all you gotta do. If you don't like it, it's okay, man. It's okay. There's always next year. But with that being said, comment under this post. What game are you most excited for this weekend? Maybe outside of your favorite Florida team. What game are you most excited to watch? And winner might get something. Who knows? It has to be a lot of comments though. So we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Have a good night. Go Bulls.